Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishnan. This is the 27th number part of PHP. So see basically, these all are the strings. I will just explain in brief basically. String data, integer data, float is float data, boolean is boolean data, array is array data, object is object data, null basically you don't know. Resources basically are also there basically. So see basically, this all are thing basically we have already discussed. Integer C. These all are the stuff basically. Decimal data basically is not allowed. It will take the data, but it will not display the, it will not take the data inside the variable basically. See basically. Float you see basically. This after dot basically 365 it's taken, right? But in integer basically it will not take. This is boolean, true or false. Boolean basically everybody knows. Array basically everybody knows. Like this basically array are getting display. These all are basically the types of variables basically which are available in the PHP. This like this basically these all things basically are in all the programming basically you can see, and these all are basically connecting to the physical places basically. When you are basically allocating this, for example, just see basically array this, that time basically it's allocating to the physical areas. Here basically it's the Volvo, right? Basically, so Volvo it's connecting to the Volvo company asset basically, and they have invested certain level of data basically in earth planet basically, so it directly connects to that area basically. You will not able to believe it basically. So one of the person told that Volvo database can be hijacked. 100% basically it can be hijacked basically. How basically I will tell. Assume that basically this line basically is this line basically is deployed in the website basically, and website basically is running. So whenever basically the Volvo word will come basically into the array, it will connect to the Volvo power supply basically, but it will not connect it directly to the physical Volvo basically. But power supply is given, so the power supply of the Volvo basically will connect. But few experts basically say that basically there are many gateways basically which is not allowing the power supply to connect to the physical, but there are many people basically who can connect from that website and from this Volvo word to the Volvo database basically. That is possible. Physical area basically they connect. So one of the person told that this type of activity, that's why basically lots of people say that many people basically know this everything. That's why basically they are staying at the home and doing the work basically, because they say that physical sometimes basically they access the physical area basically they access through the power supply. So one of the person told that kya matlab we are not able to understand. So see basically how it's connecting. Array basically is having Volvo word. Volvo word basically is will 100% connect to the power supply through computer basically. Whatever power supply basically, for example, one website basically is loaded. That website basically got the word array in the array basically it has got Volvo. That will connect to the power supply of Volvo. But there are many people basically who say that basically we basically can hijack the Volvo land also basically. For example, Volvo gets the power supply from 100-kilometer area. So that 100-kilometer area is of Volvo. They have purchased that land basically, and that is the basically power of the Volvo basically. So that land, physical land basically people basically can access. But that basically is very dangerous thing basically, and that basically it's not for legally basically it is not possible basically but few people basically do up to that level also. That's why basically few people say that Accenture basically have this much property, Capgemini basically have this much property, Patani basically group have this much property, Godrej basically have this much property, then the ICICI Bank basically have this much property, then the Reliance basically have this much property. So sometime basically one of the person told that what is this power fluctuation basically. Sometime basically power fluctuation happens, the spark basically happens, and the fire basically happens in the that particular land area basically. What is that? That is this only basically. Everything basically is happening from this basically. Why? Have you ever seen basically the fire basically getting fire? Sorry, the building or basically the complex or the entire the infotech park basically getting fire basically without any internet. Wherever basically fire is happening, their internet basically exists. Just do the experiment basically. I am 100% sure basically wherever the internet is not existing, there fire will not happen basically. The best basically hijack example is this only basically, and how the fire basically happens of the power supply basically, that is through internet basically. Wherever basically the in website basically gets load, that time basically the land also basically gets hijacked basically. But there basically the high tech programmer basically are there basically, who basically hijacks the power supply, and that type of thing basically happens in Java, C, C++, and Python. I basically never done this type of activity, and I basically has never thought also basically, but I know basically I read it somewhere basically in the website basically that this type of activity is possible. And mark my word basically, if you will debug the uh, that particular area, and you can basically track the line basically of the power supply, sorry, power fire basically, you will connect to the any of the website basically. So one of the person told that, are you sure basically, yes, in this basically you can ask a Reliance group basically, they are expert in this basically. They have the set of word basically which will 100% basically when it this that word will load to the website, it will get fired to that particular land basically. So one of the person told that how that is possible here basically. What actually then one of the person told that a website is equal to what basically. One of the person asked that also basically. Website है क्या basically then basically. Because question basically raised basically. When this type of activity basically happens, question basically raised. In this basically the American group also can't do this type of activity. Only few Germany group basically, even Russian group basically can't do this. Only basically Germany group basically can do this activity. From website basically fire happens basically. So one of the person told that, yeah, but it's very dangerous thing basically. Yes. It's not dangerous basically. I am telling you, this is the nuclear bomb basically. So one of the person told that then basically the entire Europe basically can end, entire Ukraine basically can end, because Ukraine, Europe basically this everything basically are the root of the software industry basically. And then one of the person told that yes basically it's 100% correct basically. So within second basically few website will get load and entire Europe will get end basically. Few website load and entire Ukraine basically can end. Few website loaded and entire Russia basically can end. Few website loaded and entire India basically can end. So one of the person told that it's very dangerous basically. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit about this dangerous topic.